Here's what the Council on Foreign Relations and the Wall Street Journal editorial board seems to not be aware of. Public opinion. Americans do not want to spend more money on this war, and Zelensky is a money pit. We keep sending money there. I'm not minimizing the bravery of Zelensky or the bravery of the Ukrainian people or the incredible feat of their standing up to Russia. All of that's spectacular, but they are a corrupt money pit who were never going to end the war because Zelensky would not end the war when it was going well because he didn't want to end it when things were going well because he wanted to get more territory. And he wouldn't end it when things were going poorly because
Mark,
he was on his back foot. No, let me just finish. Okay. So Donald Trump saying nice things about Putin, I don't love it. I think it's morally bankrupt and it's bizarre. But I don't care about it as compared to a president who promised to end the war, who has a plan to end the war, and Zelensky and Europe are going to have to deal with it. Europe, read the Wall Street Journal story about Europe today. This is pathetic. And I think of all the things that Trump and Musk have done, and Vance have done so far, the German stuff notwithstanding, telling Europe your economy is nothing. Your military force is nothing. Your capacity to defend yourself is nothing. Your lurch to the left is destructive. Do something about it because the United States people are not going to pay every time Putin decides he wants to be aggressive. We're just not going to pay for it anymore. Dan.
Well, look, I think, though, Mark, respectfully, there were three different subjects in your statement. Europe is ineffective right now. I agree, and it is great that they're beginning to have the conversations to get their.
But Dan, let me stop you on that one. Okay, if Europe doesn't get more effective, and then there's a deal, whatever the guarantees are. What Donald Trump is saying is, if Putin does it again, we don't want to be the ones paying for it. It's your backyard. You deal with it.
But again, these are three different conversations.
Right. I addressed that one.
Back together is one thing. Yeah. And nobody is saying, or at least I'm not saying, and a lot of Democrats are not saying Europe should be there. You said Ukraine is a corrupt mess, right? True. Putin is a corrupt thug. He's an autocrat. He invaded their country, and we believed the right thing to do was to draw the line because there's worries that he will not stop there, right?
I 100% condemn that and agree that had to be done.
All right. So now the question is, you're right. He wants to end the war. So all I'm saying is, and I think the Wall Street Journal and others are saying is, he seems to be all about Vladimir Putin. And why wouldn't you bring Ukraine? It's two sides are going to negotiate it. I mean, you guys are shaking your head.
Because he doesn't think it's the right way to end the war. Because as Sean said, it's going to complicate it.
Well, but
Zelensky doesn't want to. Zelensky doesn't want to end the war.
That's not true at all. That's just not true. He said it multiple times. He wants to end the war.
Zelensky is the one who said,
except when things are going well or poorly.
And same with Vladimir conditions. I mean, Vladimir is the same way. Like, I mean, look, he's going to do what he's going to do. We all want the war to be over. Ukraine wants it over. Russia wants it over, and the U.S. wants it over. And I give Trump credit for having the kahunas to move forward. I'm just saying, having Ukraine at the table. If you cut a deal that they don't like and Europe doesn't like, it is hard to see it holding in the future.
They'll like it. They'll like it.
They don't hold.
They'll like it. General Kellogg's in Kyiv today for several days of meetings, by the way.
Okay.
Son.
No, I just think I agree with Dan on that. If Ukraine doesn't buy in on the end, then okay. But right now, the bottom line is, how do you get a deal as soon as possible to end the killing? And this is the most effective way. It was Zelinsky himself the other day that said to Christiane Amanpour, Putin fears Trump, okay? Putin fears him. He doesn't fear Zelinsky, for God's sakes. No one does. So the bottom line is, who is going to be able to sit in a room and get a deal quicker than anyone else? And that's who, and it's Donald Trump. And he doesn't need a bunch of ankle biters sitting around trying to snipe at the deal as he's closing it.
With all due respect, I think Zelensky's playing mind games. I don't think Vladimir Putin fears Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form whatsoever.
John, you've been asked this a million times. I'm going to ask you one more. Why does Donald Trump habitually say nice things about Putin and false things about Zelensky? Defamatory and false things.
Look, I think that there's a degree. Donald Trump loves the bigger the challenge, the greater the desire to solve it. So you tell him who the biggest dictators, the biggest tyrants are, the most difficult people to deal with, and he instinctively says, I want to solve that right there. Tell me who the people are that no one else can deal with. Biden never had a relationship with Xi. I will. Tell me who else, didn't do anything with. He wants to do what no one else can. And so right now the issue is, Biden didn't do anything for 4 years to stop the war. Putin's the guy. Fine. This is a negotiation to him. He's basically saying, you know what, Putin, I can do a deal with you. Why don't you and I sit down? But that's his approach. Every time he is met with a challenge, you think about it, even domestically, at the beginning of the term, it's let's bring these guys in. We'll sit down. That's how he views a business deal.
Meeting with him is different than talking positively about him and defaming our ally Vladimir Zelinsky.
And a deal only works if
just to be clear, Mark, let's go back. I mean, you can go back 4 years. Like Zelinsky hasn't done himself any favor with some of the comments that he's made about Trump.
Of course. But to say the guy's got a 4% approval rating when he has a 54% approval rating, he's just running him down. And he's doing Putin's business. Putin is the one who says Zelensky has a 4% approval rate. So Trump is just echoing that.